Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from. My name is Isaac Simon Meme, and this is Britwood TV. And today we are going to talk about protest sensitization, that is the do's and don'ts of an ideal protest. Under the four aspect, what is a protest? What are the grounds that permit the right of a citizen to protest? Or conditions? Then number three, does Nigeria need a protest? I will quickly run up on this one, which means yes, Nigeria do need a protest, but there are conditions to be observed in order to be able to achieve its aims, so long as it doesn't end in violence or vandalization of anything. The aims will certainly be achieved. But if it is infiltrated by bad people and it becomes violent, the government stand a right to stop anything that is happening, and then it will be considered as null and void. So, going by number one, what is a protest? A protest is an expression of objection to anything going contrary to the anticipated. Is an expression. Expression can either be in a form of action or statement that shows objection to the ongoing situation, of which that means the people coming out on the streets to take a walk, to tell the press, to tell the world that we are not happy, we are in pain, we are suffering, is an act of protest. I quote, the world suffers a lot not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people. In quote, Napoleon. Then secondly, the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who keep watch without saying anything in the face of evil. Albert Einstein. Which means, whenever you keep quiet in the face of evil, it shows approval of that act. If anything goes wrong and you have to keep shut without saying anything, then certainly you are approving it and you are saying it's okay, let's run like that. So, I will take you on an article I saw on independent.ng titled The Law, Citizen Protests, Citizen Protest and the Law, which is written by Ebun Olu Adegborua San, that is a senior advocate of Nigeria, on the July 25th, 2024. I read word by word. Under and by virtue of Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution, every person shall be entitled to assemble freely and associate with one another or associate with other persons. Section 41 of the same Constitution grants the freedom of free movement to all citizens. But more importantly, the Police Act 2020 has specifically imposed a sacred obligation on the government not only to allow civil protests, but also to provide security for the protection of protesters. Section 83 of the Police Act provides as follows. 83.1. The police force is responsible for maintaining and securing public safety and order. 2. The police force shall, in carrying out its responsibility under subsection 1A, uphold the provisions of the Constitution and other laws. 2. That's B. Uphold and protect the fundamental right of all persons in Nigeria. And C. Be fair to all persons in Nigeria, notwithstanding their economic status, religion, ethnic, and political beliefs and affiliations. That is to say, the police, according to the Constitution, the police too, in this point or on this point, are emphasized or are asked to protect the protesters. If the police are hereby assigned to protect the protesters, that is to say, the Constitution in line agrees to what is happening, or in line agrees to the idea of protest, since they are even assigned to protect you on that ground. Then 4, where a person or organization notifies the police of his or her intention to hold a public meeting, rally, or procession on a public highway or such meeting in a place where the public has access to, the police officers responsible for that area where the meeting, rally, or procession will take place shall mobilize personnel to provide security cover for the meeting, rally, or procession. Which means the above provision are clear and unambiguous, carrying with it several legal implications. First is that the law recognizes the right of a citizen to hold a public meeting, rally, procession along the highway and other places that are general public or places that the general public has access to, such as Ganifawomi Park in Lagos, the Unity Foundation in Abuja, and and other locations across Nigeria, where public has access to can be a protest ground. That is to say, the Constitution totally provides a legal ground for a protest to take place. Then next is the second implication of Section 83 above is the binding obligation imposed on the police force to provide security for such public meeting, rally, or procession. When politicians gather to hold their primary election in public places, the government grants them protection through massive deployment of security. That being the case, members of the public also have the right to demand for and be granted police protection for their public meetings, rallies, and procession. Where the government is opposed to any civil protest, it is indirectly stating that it is or it has no capacity to comply with the provision of the law, which is an impeachable offense for the government to outlaw the right of citizens to protest, which means any government that comes in between its citizens and protests is an impeachable offense on the government according to Constitution or according to the provision by law. In history, it was the protest of Jewish women against the German program that led to the United Nations Charter. That charter is replete with severe declaration of the right of citizens to express and channel their grievance to the highest authority in the land. D2, for the Africa Charter on Human and People's Rights, the Catholic Church used to be the only Christian organization in the whole world. It was the protest of some of their members that led to the establishment of other denominations. So you can see here, the people protested and it led to the provision of other denominations. It's as a result of objection of the people that felt they don't like it this way, and then they were provided with solutions. So which means a protest is for a change. A protest is for a better society. A protest is a part of a government, part of a citizen's right, part of expression as in line with a democracy government. Or let's say it was the constant and relentless protest of our forefathers that led to the independence of Nigeria from the British colonialism or from the British colonialists. Pray, if Nigeria itself is a child of protest, how can anyone wake up in 2024 to prevent Nigerians from protesting? It just will not work. If the right is being done, the children shouldn't cry. If the right is not being done, the children should speak. And this is how corrections are made when points are tendered forward. to the press, and to the whole world at large. Now, the doors are done of an idle protest. If we must go for the protest, we must leave behind some things which are a necessity for achieving our aims, which are ethnicity, religion, and political difference. We must go to that ground as one Nigeria, going after one goal, which is a better Nigeria. 2, we must ensure that it's peaceful, no harm, no damages, no vandalization of any kind, just a movement and expression on unsatisfactory service to the people of our dear beloved Nigeria. Thirdly, and lastly, I am calling on the youth all over Nigeria to please avoid any sort of movement or to showcase or infiltration mind poisoning by other people who oppose the movement to showcase under the umbrella of a peaceful protest. That is to say, for any reason that some people will poison our mind to deviate our focus by paying us arms, giving us some stipends, we must abstain from this. Let's stick to our ground of a peaceful protest, communicate with the press, tell them our feeling, tell the whole world how we feel and how our government is running us and we don't like it, how the pain is becoming unbearable, how we are feeling, and at most, what we are crying for, the change we desire to see, the government we desire to observe. I will keep a comment, a link below the video of His Excellency, currently the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, during one of his speech before office, who says that the upper middle class or the rulers in Abuja are actually the ones infiltrating pain on Nigeria. And here comes the turn. Since you already know the infection, now is